All right, I'm excited about this. A little bit of a side turn for us because I do some sports from time to time, but not a bunch. But when you have a former first round freaking pick on your show, you're going to talk a little bit of college sports, pro sports. Joining me now, David Pollack hosts a wonderful podcast now called Family Goals and has a book out, which we will get to, called The Kid Won't Quit. But I remember watching this guy commit murder on Saturdays at Georgia, and now he's joining us now here on I'm Right. All right, David. Let's talk just briefly. We'll get to the NFL and NIL and college football and all this stuff like that. But I want to get to this book because I really love that people are starting to write children's books and books in general that promote our values. I've seen so much garbage raising my sons out there. How do you teach a kid, hard work and things like that? There are finally books like that out there now, and it blesses me.
Well, that's great to hear. And that's what we've seen a little bit. I mean, obviously I have two kids, and like teaching them how to compete and teaching them perspective is not the easiest thing in the world. And I think we read a study too going into this, like 60% of kids that play sports quit by the age of 13. And that's a lot, man. That's high because football and sports teach you so much about yourself and discipline and toughness and how to win, how to work together. And so that's why we wrote it, and it's called The Won't Quit Kid, teaching kids that it's not about like being the star. It's not about making plays. It's not about home runs and touchdowns. Like it's about every day trying to bring your best and be the best version of you. And guess what? It's going to be really hard, and it's going to hurt, and it's going to be hot, and you're going to have those things throughout your life. So it's kind of a cool message of using sport to teach kids that and for them to do their best and realize that that's good enough.
David, my wife asked me one time where I got my confidence from, and it's funny you just brought that up. I told her, and I don't know that I'm right about this or that you would agree, but that there's not a second way to get confident than by going through hard things, whether it was sports or Marine Corps or whatever it may be, that at least for dudes, I can't speak for women, doesn't matter how many times you tell them you're proud of them, you love them, all this other stuff, unless something hurts and is difficult, you can't be that confident that that's where it comes from. You agree with that?
Dude, you got to fail. I mean, if you never fail, that means you've never pushed yourself to do anything great. Like that means you've always taken it where it's easy. So yeah, I do, man. It's crazy, Jesse. I have two kids, and my daughter, she was born with confidence. Plenty of her daddy's confidence / arrogance. And then I have a son who was built just like mommy. And it's funny because my biggest goal in life was not to raise, confident athletes. My biggest goal was to raise great Christian kids that put other people first and served other people first. And so I didn't really build confidence. That wasn't the thing I was trying to do. I was trying to get them to learn how to build up others and be a great teammate. And so what I've really learned, man, is I've got to do a really good job with my son of pouring into him and building his confidence. And I tell him all the time, man, like God made you for something great, dude. Like I watch you play and I love it. But I don't talk about the plays he made, but I just talk about how much I love watching him compete and watching him play and just keep reaffirming, man, that like God's got an awesome plan for your life and he's going to do amazing things. And I've learned as a parent that, not each kid is the same and we've got to parent them differently for sure. And I've definitely learned with my son, man, I got to pour into that confidence bucket more than I do with my daughter.
It's interesting. And I'll tell you, there's just no greater time, at least there was none for me, than when my second son got baptized. First one had already knocked it out. Once the second son did it, I said, God, you can just take me home now. I'm done. I'm a happy man. Take me home at 43. That was all I needed to see in life.
That's all. That is great perspective. And what if we all had that perspective, man? Like, what if we all led our family from the standpoint of like, I am more concerned about where they go when they die than I am about sports. I am about school. Like, I think we would offer so much more grace and we would be so much of a better representation for them as a man going forward. And so, yeah, I remember celebrating. I baptized my son and I remember celebrating. I was like, listen, this is the most proud moment I've ever had. Like, I'm not, all that stuff you do everywhere else is cool, man, and that's great. But like the commitment you're making right now for the rest of your life is something that I'm so excited to walk out with you. And I'm so excited that you made it, that you did it. So I think you're right, man. We got to pour into them. We got to realize so many people missing church every Sunday for sport. I'm like, we got to get this figured out, man. Like, sport is not that important. Sport is awesome. It's great, but it can't be everything. And we see so much of that now. And we got to get our kids focused on the main thing. That's for sure.
It's the Won't Quit Kid. Highly recommend people pick up. That's both of mine. I'm a happy man. All right, I have to yell about something, David. I hate the NIL, and I hate the stupid college football playoff. Look, I'm an Ohio State fan. Don't yell at me. I'm an Ohio State fan. I was born in Ohio, and we lost to Michigan, last weekend. For an Ohio State fan, that's supposed to be devastating, like the end of the world, right? And I was bummed, but it wasn't the end of the world because I knew we were getting in anyway. That should have ended our season, but now because of the stupid playoff, the stakes aren't as high. I freaking hate it.
Or are the stakes higher, Jesse? I mean, we were told, Jesse, that this was going to devalue the regular season. Did it devalue the regular season, or did we have more teams with a chance to crack at the apple at the end?
Okay, I don't disagree, but I say it did devalue the regular season because while I was bummed after we lost to Michigan, because you never want to lose to Michigan, especially a crappy Michigan team, when you still might be hoisting up the national championship title, a trophy at the end of the year, it's not as devastating. I guess that's my point. You've taken at least some of the stakes out of the regular season. That's my complaint.
I can get down with that. But here's the thing, Jesse, and listen, you're an Ohio State fan, and I'm a Georgia guy. So we don't have to worry about it as much because our teams are always pretty dang good. But here's the thing that's cool. Indiana's in the playoffs. SMU's in the playoffs. Like, Boise State is in the playoffs. Like, that is so cool. Arizona State is in the playoffs. Those are 4 teams that never have a chance to get there. And because of NIL, because of these kids in the transfer portal, the talent goes all over the country now. It doesn't go to Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama because you know what the recruiting pitch for those teams used to be? Come here. I know you'll sit on the bench for your first year, maybe your first 2 years, but we will develop you and put you in the NFL and make you a lot of money. Now everybody's like, wait a minute, I can go over there and I can go make a lot of money. I don't have to worry about sitting on the bench at Ohio State or Georgia or Alabama. So I think parity is here to stay. I think you're one transfer portal team away from Indiana, FSU a year ago. Like, now I think you can rebuild faster than ever, and it kind of changes the landscape, and we have more parity than we ever had.
Oh, imagine you losing a prize player to Indiana. Oh, gosh. David Pollack, the kid, go pick up his book. Appreciate you very much, sir. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.